So I heard noise coming from outside, and I didn't quite spring from my room to see what was the matter. But as it turned out, when I got out here, we've got traffic to deal with. We're supposed to be leaving in about an hour, and somebody else has to get out of the harbor before we do. Fortunately, they seem to be moving at a reasonably good clip. Slower than cruise ship speed, perhaps, but fast enough to make their way out. Don't get to see this all the time. And yes, I'm turning the view specifically so that we can keep this over my shoulder, because it won't be too long before it's disappearing. I mean, this is port business. It shouldn't come as any great surprise, but it's still amusing to catch it when it goes through. But with the traffic in the bay now cleared, we have a path ahead of ourselves to head out. So it's goodbye Honolulu, goodbye America for that matter, and we're back to the open seas for another 3 or 4 days. Still, as we make our way out, we get some good views. Just as well that we headed out, though. It would seem that at the pier that we were just at, there is now a Viking ship. And at some point soon, I should probably cruise with them again. Probably one of their smaller ships instead. I still haven't taken the Rhine on yet. And as for ocean-going vessels, I'm fine where I am. One of the problems with trying to film and talk and take shots is that the shots happen when they happen. I've got Diamond Head behind me, as well as all those buildings. And pretty soon, I'll have days in a row of nothing out here. Open ocean is nice, but there'll be plenty of it. But watching us move through Honolulu Harbor, that's only going to take a few minutes before we're out. So I have to seize the moment when it comes. I have to admit, the mountains seem so much bigger when I'm looking at them in the other direction than when I'm seeing them in the camera. They seem so small and distant here, but trust me, when you're looking at them from the balcony, they really are quite impressive. Likewise with Diamond Head, as you can see behind me. It is a long way off, so it does appear that much smaller. But when you see it in the camera, it seems almost tiny. It's not nearly as impressive, which is a shame. The camera just doesn't do things justice sometimes. But it's the only way I can show it to you. I guess there really isn't that much more to say, but aloha, Hawaii. Whether I'll be back or not, God only knows. And he's not telling me. One thing to mention as we continue to pull away, those mountains were off in the distance when we were leaving the harbor, and the buildings were taller than the mountains. As we keep going away, the mountains stay the same height, but in proportion to them, the buildings become so much less. We can build what we want to, but it's still very little in comparison to God and nature, isn't it? And now, even as it still looks tiny, everything around it, everything around Diamond Head looks tinier still. It still towers above everything else.